A young nurse bathed the millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. In the bright, sterile halls of Westbridge Private Hospital, Anna Monroe, a dedicated young nurse, walked down the quiet corridors. It had been a long day, filled with rounds and care for her patients, but none as important as the one she was about to face. Today, she had been assigned the case of Grant Carter, a name known by many in the city. He was not just any patient, he was the youngest billionaire in the state, a powerful figure in the business world who had been in a coma for over a year after a tragic car accident. His family had abandoned him, and most of the staff cared for him only out of obligation. But Anna saw something more. She was drawn to him, not by his wealth or status, but by the vulnerability of his condition. She had heard the stories, the media coverage, the whispered rumors of his ruthless business dealings, the coldness with which he had treated others. Yet, in his current state, trapped in a coma, he was nothing but a fragile man, completely dependent on those who cared for him. Anna stood in front of his private suite on the top floor, a room unlike any other in the hospital. It was lavishly furnished, dimly lit, and eerily quiet. The only sound was the rhythmic beep of the heart monitor, a constant reminder of the life that hung in the balance. She took a deep breath, gathered her courage, and pushed open the door. Inside, Grant Carter lay in a large, plush bed, connected to various machines that kept him alive. His once strong, athletic frame now seemed frail and lifeless. His eyes were closed, his face pale, and his body was still, except for the faint rise and fall of his chest with each breath. Anna hesitated for a moment, her gaze lingering on him. She had been assigned to care for him for the past week, but today was different. Today, she had to bathe him. It was a routine procedure, but for some reason, it felt more intimate, more personal than anything she had done before. She carefully adjusted the blanket around him and began preparing the warm, soft cloth. As she gently bathed his face and neck, she couldn't help but wonder what it must have been like to be a man of such power and wealth, only to end up in this state. She spoke to him softly, telling him about her day, as though he could hear her. Anna believed that even in a coma, patients could still sense the presence of those around them. It was a small, comforting belief she held onto. With each movement, she treated him with the same care and respect she would give to any other patient. She wasn't here because he was a billionaire. She was here because he was a human being in need of help. As Anna worked, she noticed something strange. His fingers twitched ever so slightly, as though responding to her touch. She froze, staring at his hand. Could it be? Was he finally starting to wake up? She leaned in closer, heart racing. She gently held his hand, hoping for some sign that he was aware of her presence. The heart monitor beeped steadily, as it always had. But in that quiet moment, it felt like something more like a glimmer of hope, a flicker of life. Anna waited, not daring to move, wondering if this could be the miracle she had been waiting for. Asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. Anna stood still holding Grant's hand, her heart racing. The slight twitch of his fingers had sparked a small flame of hope within her. Could it be? Was the man she had cared for, the man who had been unconscious for so long, finally starting to wake up? The steady beeping of the heart monitor was the only sound in the room, yet Anna felt as if the air around her had shifted, thick with anticipation. She had been caring for Grant Carter for nearly a week, and despite his condition, there was something about him that made her want to stay, to keep hoping. She had heard stories about him, about his empire, his ruthlessness in business, and the way he had pushed away everyone who tried to get close. Yet, here he was, completely at her mercy, unable to fight or run from his circumstances. She was his lifeline, and that felt strangely powerful. For a moment, she simply stood there, her fingers lightly pressing against his, feeling the warmth of his skin. Then, to her amazement, his hand shifted slightly. His thumb brushed against hers. Anna's breath caught in her throat. She quickly leaned forward, whispering softly, "Grant, can you hear me?" There was no response, only the steady rhythm of his breathing. But Anna didn't give up. She kept talking, telling him about the world outside his hospital room, about the small things in her life that made her smile, as if in some way he could hear her. And then, the unthinkable happened. Grant's eyelids fluttered. Anna froze. She watched in disbelief as his eyes slowly, painfully opened. They were glazed at first, unfocused, but there was something in them, something alive. His gaze slowly shifted toward Anna, and for the first time in over a year, he was looking at her. He blinked a few times, as though trying to make sense of his surroundings. Anna's heart skipped a beat. "Grant, can you hear me?" she asked, her voice trembling with hope. His lips parted, but no sound came out at first. Slowly, he tried again, his voice hoarse, barely above a whisper. "What? Where am I?" Anna felt a lump form in her throat. She had never seen anything like this before. This was a miracle. She quickly adjusted his pillows, making sure he was comfortable. "You're in the hospital, Grant. You've been in a coma for over a year." Grant's brows furrowed in confusion, his eyes darting around the room as if searching for answers. "A year?" he repeated, his voice thick with disbelief. "How?" Anna hesitated, unsure of how to explain. "It was an accident, Grant. Your car. It crashed. You've been unconscious ever since." He stared at her for a long moment, processing the information. Then, as if suddenly aware of his situation, he tried to sit up, his movements slow and shaky. Anna immediately stepped forward to help, placing a hand on his shoulder to steady him. "Take it easy. You've been through a lot," she said gently. Grant took a deep breath, his face a mixture of exhaustion and confusion. I don't remember," he said, his voice weak. Anna nodded, her hand still on his shoulder. "It's okay, Grant. You're safe now." The room was silent for a moment as Grant continued to blink in and out of focus. The sound of the heart monitor, which had once been a constant reminder of his fragile state, now seemed like a reassuring symbol of life, of hope. As Anna stood beside him, watching him struggle to comprehend what had happened, she couldn't help but wonder what the future would hold for them both. Was this a simple recovery? Or was something deeper unfolding between them? She had no answers. Only the quiet certainty that this moment, this miracle, was just the beginning. Asterisk, asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. As the days passed, Grant Carter's recovery seemed nothing short of miraculous. The doctors had told Anna not to expect much. They warned her that even if he regained consciousness, there was no guarantee he would be the same person he had been before the accident. But day by day, Grant began to regain more of his strength. His memories, though fragmented, slowly started to return. At first, they were small things: his love for classic cars, his passion for business, the way he used to run his empire with ruthless efficiency. But as Anna helped him through each session of physical therapy, she noticed something else, something unexpected. His demeanor was changing. The sharp, cold, distant man she had read about in the news was beginning to soften, opening up to her in ways he hadn't before. During their daily conversations, Grant shared bits of his life, the pain of losing his family, the loneliness that had come with the immense wealth and power he had once held. He admitted that, despite everything, he had always longed for connection, for someone who truly cared for him, not just his status or his money. Anna listened to him with empathy, offering him comfort in a way that no one had ever done before. She was there for him, not because of his wealth, but because she genuinely cared about him as a person. One afternoon, as she sat by his bedside, he turned to her with a look of deep gratitude in his eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice still a little raspy but steady. "You've been here for me when no one else has. I never imagined that someone like you would care." Anna smiled softly, her heart warmed by his words. "You don't need to thank me, Grant. I'm just doing my job, but I'm glad to be here for you." Grant looked down at his hands, his mind clearly racing. It's hard for me to believe how different everything feels now. Before the accident, I was so focused on building my empire, on achieving success. I never really stopped to think about what I wanted out of life. And now that I'm awake, I realize that what I wanted all along wasn't power or money. Anna watched him closely, waiting for him to continue. "What I really wanted," he said quietly, "was to be seen, to be understood, to have someone in my life who cares about me, not just for what I can give them, but because they genuinely care about me." The sincerity in his voice struck Anna deeply. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them was comfortable, filled with unspoken understanding. It was then that Anna realized that the connection she had with Grant was more than just professional. It was something deeper, something real. Over the next few weeks, Grant continued to improve, both physically and emotionally. His interactions with Anna became more frequent, more personal. He would seek her out in the hallways, just to talk, just to share his thoughts. And Anna found herself looking forward to their conversations. Slowly, their bond began to grow, and it was clear that there was something more than just nurse and patient between them. Yet, despite the growing closeness, Anna remained cautious. She was aware of the power imbalance between them, of the fact that Grant was still in recovery, and that he might not truly understand his feelings. But as she spent more time with him, helping him through each day, her own feelings for him grew stronger. One day, as they sat together in the hospital garden, Grant turned to her with a serious expression on his face. "Anna," he began, "I know I'm not fully recovered yet, but I've been thinking about something." Anna raised an eyebrow, waiting for him to continue. "I don't want to rush anything, but I feel like I need to say this. I think I'm starting to fall for you." His words hung in the air between them, and for a moment, Anna was speechless. She had suspected that something like this might happen, but hearing him say it out loud was still a shock. Her heart raced, but she remained calm, trying to process what he had just said. "Grant, She paused, unsure of how to respond. "I'm here for you. I care about you. But we need to take things slowly." Grant nodded, his expression softening. "I understand. I don't expect anything right away. But I needed you to know how I feel." The air between them felt charged, filled with a mixture of hope, uncertainty, and something else. Something that neither of them could deny. As they sat there in the garden, the sun setting in the distance, Anna couldn't help but wonder what the future held for them. Was this the beginning of something new, something beautiful? Or was it just a fleeting moment in the aftermath of his recovery? Only time would tell, but for now, they both knew that something had changed. Something real had begun to take root between them. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. As the days passed, things started to shift. Grant's recovery, although slow, was nothing short of extraordinary. Anna had watched him regain strength physically, but emotionally, there was a tenderness in him that had never been there before. The cold, distant billionaire, who had once been the center of the city's corporate world, was now more open, more vulnerable, and Anna couldn't help but be drawn to the changes she saw in him. He had become more than just a patient. He was starting to become someone she could see herself caring about. However, Anna wasn't ready to let herself fall for him completely. She reminded herself daily that Grant was still in recovery, and the last thing she wanted was to get caught up in something that might not be real. She was there to help him heal, not to fall for him. Still, every day, they spent more time together, and every day, their connection deepened. Grant would ask her questions about her life, her dreams, and the little things that made her smile. He wanted to know everything about her, and though Anna hesitated, she couldn't help but share parts of herself with him. The more he asked, the more she realized that he wasn't just trying to fill the void left by his isolation. He was genuinely interested in who she was. One evening, as Anna helped Grant through some light exercises, he paused, looking at her with a look that was both intense and uncertain. "Anna," he said softly, "I need to ask you something." She raised an eyebrow, wondering where this conversation would lead. "What is it, Grant?" He hesitated for a moment, gathering his thoughts. "I've been thinking a lot about everything, the accident, my recovery, and how much you've been here for me. I can't help but feel something more than just gratitude." Anna's heart skipped a beat, but she maintained her composure. "Grant, we've talked about this," she said gently. "I'm here to help you recover, and I care about your well-being. But we need to take things slow, okay?" Grant nodded, though there was a sadness in his eyes. "I understand. But I can't deny what I feel. It's not just about gratitude. I feel something deeper." Anna took a deep breath. She had known this was coming. She could see it in the way he looked at her, in the way his eyes softened when she spoke. She had tried to ignore it, but now, hearing him say it out loud, she couldn't deny the pull between them. "Grant, I care about you too," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But you're still healing. We can't rush things." Grant gave her a small smile. "I don't want to rush anything. I just needed you to know how I feel. I respect your space, Anna. I'll wait." The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache. She knew that he was being honest, and a part of her wanted to give in to the feelings that were slowly taking root in her heart. But she also knew that rushing into a relationship while he was still recovering could complicate everything. Anna took a step back, her mind racing. "Let's focus on your recovery first. That's the most important thing right now," she said, trying to maintain her professional boundaries. Grant nodded, though his expression remained thoughtful. "I understand," he said quietly, "but I want you to know that, no matter what happens, I'm grateful for everything you've done. You've changed my life, Anna." The words hit Anna harder than she expected. She had heard gratitude from patients before, but something about the way Grant said it made her heart swell. He wasn't just thanking her for her care, he was acknowledging her presence in his life, the way she had become a constant, a source of comfort and strength. Over the next few days, Anna found herself constantly thinking about their conversation. She couldn't deny the attraction she felt toward him, but she also knew that their relationship needed to be built on trust and understanding, not on the healing process. As much as she wanted to be there for him, she couldn't let herself get caught up in the whirlwind of emotions that were starting to stir within her. Grant was still in recovery, and she needed to be sure that whatever happened between them would be real, not a byproduct of the isolation and vulnerability that came with his condition. And so, she focused on her work. She helped him with his physical therapy, spent time talking with him about his past, and reassured him when he expressed doubts about his future. She remained professional, but there was an unspoken understanding between them, a bond that was undeniable. As the days went by, Anna couldn't help but feel that something was changing, something deep within her heart. But she also knew that, for now, all she could do was stay focused on helping Grant recover. The rest would come in time. Asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. The days continued to pass, and as Anna spent more time with Grant, she couldn't help but notice the subtle changes in him. He was still in recovery, but his physical progress was remarkable. He no longer needed the assistance of a walker or a wheelchair for short distances, and his once faint, weak voice was becoming clearer with each passing day. It was a slow journey, but a journey nonetheless, and Anna was there every step of the way, watching him regain not just his strength but also his spirit. Despite the growing bond between them, Anna still maintained her professional distance. She reminded herself constantly that she was there to help Grant heal, not to get emotionally entangled with him. But as the days turned into weeks, it became increasingly difficult to ignore the connection that was blossoming between them. There were moments when she would catch herself looking at him, really looking at him when he laughed at something she said, or when his eyes softened as he spoke of his past. There were times when she would feel her heart race in ways she hadn't expected. One afternoon, as Anna helped him with some simple stretches, Grant stopped and looked at her with a seriousness that made her pause. "Anna," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "I know you've been telling me to take it slow, and I'm trying to respect that, but there's something I need to ask you." Anna felt a knot form in her stomach. She had known this moment was coming, but she wasn't sure if she was ready for it. She set the towel down and looked at him, trying to steady her breath. "What is it, Grant?" she asked, keeping her tone calm, though her heart was pounding in her chest. Grant took a deep breath, clearly struggling with his words. "I've been thinking a lot about this, about us. I know I'm not fully recovered, and I know I'm not in the best position to be asking this, but I need to know how you feel. You've been so kind to me, and I know I've said this before, but I can't ignore it anymore. I feel something for you, Anna. Something real. I can't keep pretending it's just gratitude." Anna froze for a moment, unsure how to respond. She had known Grant was feeling something for her. She could see it in his eyes, in the way he looked at her when they shared moments of quiet understanding. But hearing him say it out loud made it all feel so much more real. She was torn between her growing feelings for him and the professional boundaries she had set for herself. "Grant," she said slowly, trying to find the right words, "you're still healing. We both know that. And I care about you. I really do. But we have to take things slow. What we're talking about can't just be about the moment. It has to be real. I need time. You need time." Grant nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. "I know," he said quietly. "I don't want to rush you, and I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. But I needed you to know. I needed to say it." Anna felt a wave of relief wash over her. She appreciated his honesty, and in that moment, she realized how much she valued the time they had spent together. She had become invested in his recovery not just as his nurse, but as a person who genuinely cared for him. She reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I'm here for you, Grant. I always will be. But we need to focus on your recovery, okay?" He smiled, though there was a sadness behind his eyes. "Okay," he agreed softly. Over the next few days, the atmosphere between them was different, more peaceful, more grounded. They spent more time talking, laughing, and reflecting on the changes that had occurred in Grant's life. Though they didn't speak directly about their feelings again, it was clear that their bond was deepening. Anna found herself drawn to him in ways she hadn't expected, but she also knew that they needed to take things one step at a time. As the days turned into weeks, Grant's progress continued to amaze the doctors. He was regaining strength faster than anyone had anticipated, and soon, he was able to leave the hospital for short trips to the park. Anna accompanied him, enjoying the fresh air and the quiet moments they shared together. One afternoon, as they sat on a bench by a small lake, Grant turned to Anna with a thoughtful expression. "I don't know how to thank you for everything," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You've given me so much more than just medical care. You've given me hope, Anna." She smiled softly, her heart full. "You've done the hard part, Grant. You've fought through it all. I'm just here to help." He nodded, his gaze never leaving hers. "I don't know what the future holds, but I do know one thing," he said, his voice steady. "I'm grateful for you, and I want to find out what that future looks like together." Anna's heart skipped a beat. She hadn't expected him to say that. But in that moment, she realized that the journey they had started together wasn't just about his recovery. It was about the two of them, finding their way through this strange and unexpected bond that had formed between them. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long while, she was ready to find out. Asterisk asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. The weeks that followed were filled with slow but steady progress. Grant's recovery had continued in ways no one had predicted. He was moving more freely, his memory clearer, and his overall mood seemed to improve as he became more aware of the world around him. Anna watched as the once cold, distant billionaire transformed into someone more approachable, someone she could truly talk to. Despite her growing feelings for him, she remained professional, reminding herself constantly that this was about his healing, not their budding connection. But that connection was undeniable. One afternoon, after a long physical therapy session, Grant and Anna found themselves alone in the hospital garden, sitting quietly on a bench by the fountain. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm, golden light across the peaceful space. Grant, still a bit weary from the day's exercises, turned to Anna, his expression serious. "I've been thinking about what you said," he began, his voice softer than usual. "About taking things slow, about focusing on my recovery. I know it's not easy, but I want you to know that I respect that. I don't want to rush anything either." Anna nodded, her eyes meeting his. "I'm glad you understand. It's just that we're in such a delicate place right now. You're recovering, and I'm here to help you get better. Everything else, that can wait." Grant's eyes searched hers, a small but meaningful silence hanging in the air between them. "But I don't want to just wait, Anna," he said quietly. "I don't want to wait forever, not when I know how I feel." Anna's heart skipped a beat, but she remained calm, knowing that she needed to be strong in this moment. "Grant, you're still healing," she reminded him softly, her voice steady. "We can't let emotions get in the way of your recovery. You have to take care of yourself first." Grant's lips pressed into a thin line, his brow furrowed in thought. "I know," he said, his voice tinged with frustration. "But sometimes I wonder if I'm just a prisoner to my past, to this image of who I was before the accident. It's hard to accept that things have changed, that I've changed." Anna reached out, placing a gentle hand on his. "Grant, you're not a prisoner. You're human. And you've been through something incredibly difficult. It's okay to feel lost sometimes, but you don't have to do it alone." For a moment, Grant didn't respond, his gaze fixed on their hands. Anna felt a deep connection in that moment, a connection that was beyond patient and nurse. It was a bond of shared experience, of mutual respect. Finally, Grant spoke, his voice low but earnest. "You've been more than just a nurse to me, Anna. You've been a friend, a person I can rely on when everything else felt like it was falling apart." Anna's heart ached, but she kept her composure. "I'm just doing my job, Grant, and I'm here for you, always." He looked at her, his eyes filled with something more than gratitude. "I know you are. And I'm grateful, but I can't help but think that maybe there's something more between us, something I don't want to ignore." Anna's breath caught in her throat. She had known this moment was inevitable, but hearing him say it out loud made it feel so real. She wanted to believe that their connection was genuine, but she also knew they had to be careful. "We can't rush this," she said gently, her voice firm but kind. "You're still recovering, and I need to make sure that what we're feeling is real, not just a byproduct of everything that's happened." Grant nodded, though there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I understand. I don't want to rush anything. I just needed you to know how I feel." The sincerity in his words left Anna feeling both relieved and conflicted. She had spent so much time focusing on his recovery, on helping him heal physically, that she hadn't allowed herself to fully acknowledge the emotions she was beginning to feel for him. But now, hearing him say it, she knew that she, too, had feelings for him. But it wasn't just about their attraction, it was about the time and space they both needed to heal and figure out what this connection meant. "We'll take it one step at a time," Anna said softly, squeezing his hand. "You focus on getting better, and I'll be here, every step of the way." Grant's smile returned, though it was tinged with uncertainty. "I can live with that," he said quietly. As they sat together, the sun dipping below the horizon, Anna realized that they were both on the same journey, not just of physical recovery, but of discovering what it meant to truly connect with another person. It wasn't going to be easy, and there would be moments of doubt, but for the first time in a long while, Anna felt hopeful. They would take things slow, yes, but together, they would face whatever came next. Asterisk, asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. As time went on, things began to take a new turn. Grant had made remarkable progress in his recovery, but Anna's feelings for him had grown just as quickly. She had tried so hard to keep things professional, to focus on his healing, but it was becoming increasingly difficult to deny the bond between them. Yet, the more she tried to keep her distance, the more they found themselves drawn to each other. One evening, as Anna sat by Grant's side, helping him with his latest round of physical therapy, he suddenly turned to her with an expression that was both serious and uncertain. "Anna, there's something I need to talk to you about," he said, his voice low but filled with emotion. Anna felt her heart race in anticipation, unsure of what was coming next. She had known this day might come, but that didn't make it any easier. "What's on your mind, Grant?" she asked, trying to keep her tone neutral, even though her thoughts were anything but. He hesitated for a moment, clearly struggling to find the right words. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about how much I've come to depend on you. Not just as my nurse, but as someone I care about deeply." Anna's breath caught in her throat. She had known he felt something for her, but hearing him say it out loud made it all the more real. She looked into his eyes, searching for the right response. "Grant," she began, her voice soft. "I care about you too, but you're still healing, and we need to be careful. We can't let our emotions cloud what's best for you right now." He nodded, his face a mixture of frustration and understanding. "I know, Anna. I've told myself the same thing 1,000 times, but every time I look at you, I can't help but feel like there's something more between us, something real." Anna felt her heart flutter, but she also felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. "You're still in recovery," she repeated gently. "You need time to heal, and so do I. I'm here for you, Grant, but we have to take it slow. I don't want either of us to rush into something we're not ready for." Grant's expression softened as he reached out to take her hand, his grip strong but tender. "I understand," he said quietly. "I don't want to rush either, but I just need you to know how I feel. I can't ignore it anymore." Anna squeezed his hand, feeling a mix of emotions flood through her. She cared for him deeply, but she couldn't let herself get swept away by their growing connection. Not yet. "Let's focus on your recovery," she said softly. "That's the most important thing right now." Grant gave her a small smile, though it was tinged with sadness. "I know, but I'll wait, Anna. I'll wait as long as it takes." The sincerity in his voice melted something in Anna. She had never expected to find herself in this position, but here she was, caught between her duty to help him heal and the feelings she couldn't ignore. As the days passed, their bond continued to deepen. They spent more time together, not just in the hospital, but also outside. Slowly, Grant was regaining more of his independence. He no longer needed constant assistance with daily tasks, and his strength was improving with each day. Yet, despite the progress he made, Anna remained cautious. She was determined to stay focused on his recovery, but she couldn't help but notice the way his presence made her feel. They were becoming more than just nurse and patient. They were becoming friends, confidants, and something more. One day, as they sat together in the hospital courtyard, watching the sun set over the city, Grant turned to her with a look of determination in his eyes. "Anna," he said softly, "I know we've talked about taking things slow, but I want you to know that, no matter what happens, I'm grateful for everything you've done for me." Anna smiled, her heart swelling with emotion. You don't need to thank me, Grant. I'm here to help. He shook his head, his expression serious. No, I do need to thank you. You've been here for me in ways no one else ever was. And I can't imagine my life without you in it. His words took her by surprise, but they also made her heart race in a way that was both thrilling and terrifying. She wasn't sure where this would lead, but she knew one thing for sure. Whatever happened, they would face it together. They were no longer just nurse and patient. They were two people who had connected on a level that went beyond the healing process. And that, in itself, was something neither of them could ignore. Asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. As the days went on, Anna and Grant found themselves settling into a new rhythm. Grant had made tremendous progress in his recovery, and though Anna had been careful to maintain professional boundaries, she could feel the growing connection between them. It had been weeks since their last conversation about taking things slow, but now, as time passed, she found it harder to deny her feelings for him. Despite her best efforts, she was beginning to care for him in ways she hadn't expected. Grant, too, had been patient. He respected her need for space, understanding that his recovery came first. But every moment they spent together made him more certain that what they shared wasn't just a fleeting connection. He had come to rely on Anna in ways he never thought possible. She was the one person who had stood by him through the darkest days of his life. And in return, he wanted to be more than just a patient to her. One afternoon, as they sat together in the quiet garden behind the hospital, Anna and Grant shared a rare moment of peace. The air was crisp, the sky clear, and the sound of birds chirping filled the space. They had both been through so much, and yet, in this moment, they could almost pretend that the world outside the hospital didn't exist. Grant turned to Anna, his eyes soft, his expression filled with a quiet intensity. "Anna," he began, his voice calm but filled with emotion. "I know we've both been careful. I know we've been taking this one day at a time, but I can't keep pretending that I don't feel something more for you. Every day I'm with you, I realize how much you mean to me. You've become a part of my life in a way I never expected, and I can't ignore it anymore." Anna's heart skipped a beat. She had known this moment would come. But hearing him say it out loud made it feel all the more real. She had tried so hard to keep her feelings in check, to remind herself that his recovery was the priority, but the connection between them was undeniable. She looked at him, her own emotions swirling inside her. "Grant," she began, her voice softer than usual. "I care about you, I really do. But we need to be careful. You're still healing, and we can't let ourselves get swept away by everything that's happening. I don't want to risk everything by rushing into something we're not ready for." Grant nodded, his face softening as he reached for her hand. "I understand," he said, his voice steady. "I don't want to rush anything either, but I need you to know how I feel. I don't want to wait anymore. Not when I know that you're the one who's been there for me. You've been my strength when I had none. You've been the only person who truly sees me, and I can't let that go." Anna's heart swelled with emotion. She had known the depth of what they shared, but hearing him express it so openly made her realize just how much he valued her. She squeezed his hand gently, her mind racing. "Grant," she said softly, "I'm here for you, always. But we have to move forward carefully, together. We can't let everything that's happened cloud our judgment." He nodded again, a small, understanding smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "I know, Anna, and I'll respect that. I don't want to push you. But I do want to be with you, if you'll have me. I want to take this journey with you, not just as your patient, but as someone who cares deeply about you." Anna's heart felt lighter in that moment, though uncertainty still lingered. She knew that this was a step they both had to take together, and while the future was uncertain, there was one thing she was sure of. They couldn't ignore what had been growing between them. "Okay," she said, her voice filled with quiet determination. "We'll take this one day at a time, just like we have been. But I'm willing to see where this goes." Grant's face lit up with relief, his grip on her hand tightening. "Thank you," he said softly, his voice filled with gratitude. "I won't let you down, Anna, I promise." They sat there for a while, hand in hand, the weight of their decision hanging between them. They both knew that the road ahead would be challenging, that there would be bumps along the way, but they were ready to face them together. For the first time in a long time, Anna felt a sense of peace, knowing that they were moving forward on their own terms, with trust, patience, and the hope for something more. It wasn't going to be easy, but it was real, and that was all that mattered. Asterisk, asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. As the weeks passed, Grant and Anna found themselves in a delicate balance. They had decided to take things one day at a time, with no rush. But the chemistry between them was undeniable. Grant's recovery was progressing rapidly, and he had regained most of his strength. He no longer relied on the hospital staff for everything, and his physical therapy was showing impressive results. Still, it wasn't just his body that was healing. The emotional scars he carried from the years of isolation, the ruthless business world he had come from, and the accident itself were slowly starting to mend, too. But just as things seemed to be settling into a new normal, a new challenge appeared. Grant's family, or what remained of it, had started reaching out again. His estranged father, who had barely visited him since the accident, suddenly showed up at the hospital with his lawyer in tow. Grant had always been a self-made man, and his relationship with his father had always been strained. His father, a man of power and wealth, had been disappointed in Grant for not following in his footsteps and taking the reins of the family business. As Grant slowly regained consciousness and his strength, his father's presence felt like an unwanted shadow. Anna had been by Grant's side during the initial stages of recovery, but when his father appeared, she sensed a shift. She watched from the sidelines as the conversation between father and son unfolded, with a sense of unease growing in her chest. "Grant," his father's voice was stern, but it held a hint of desperation. "You need to come back to the family business. You can't waste your life like this. Your company needs you." Grant, sitting up in his hospital bed, looked at his father with a mixture of disbelief and resentment. "You've only ever cared about the company," he said, his voice raw. "You never cared about me. I'm not going back to that world, not the way you want me to." His father's face reddened with frustration, but his tone remained calm, almost calculating. "You're being unreasonable. You think you can just leave everything behind and live like this?" Anna could see the conflict on Grant's face. He had worked hard to build his own life away from his father's shadow, but the pressure of his family's expectations was something he could never fully escape. "I don't want that life anymore," Grant responded, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. "I'm done living for other people's approval. I want to live for myself now." The conversation grew more heated, and Anna felt herself standing on the sidelines, unsure of how to intervene. She knew this was something Grant had to confront, but she couldn't help but feel the weight of the situation pressing down on both of them. As Grant's father left the room, fuming with frustration, Anna approached Grant carefully. She could see the exhaustion on his face and the conflict in his eyes. "Grant," she said gently, "you don't have to do this alone. You've come so far. I'm here for you, whatever you decide." He looked up at her, his eyes filled with gratitude and a touch of vulnerability. "Thank you, Anna," he whispered. "I don't know what I would do without you." The words, though simple, meant more to Anna than he could know. She had been there for him through the darkest days, and she had grown to care for him deeply. But now, as the weight of his family's expectations loomed over him, she knew that he would have to make the decision on his own. He had to find his own path, without the burden of his father's demands. The following days were filled with uncertainty. Grant spent time reflecting on what his father had said, weighing the options before him. Anna continued to support him, but she could sense his internal struggle. He had spent his life building an empire. But now that he had the chance to live for himself, He was torn between the life he had once known and the one he wanted to create with Anna. One evening, as they sat together in the hospital courtyard, the sun setting behind them, Grant turned to her, his expression more resolved than she had seen in weeks. "I've made up my mind," he said quietly. Anna looked at him, her heart racing with anticipation. "What do you mean?" she asked. "I'm not going back," he said, his voice filled with a quiet strength. "I'm done with that world. I want to focus on my recovery, on what really matters. And that's you, Anna." Anna's heart swelled with emotion as she reached out to take his hand. "You don't have to do it alone, Grant. I'm here for you, every step of the way." As the days went by, Anna and Grant faced the challenges of his recovery together. But now there was a new sense of clarity between them. Grant had made the decision to live his life for himself, and with Anna by his side, he felt more at peace than he had in a long time. Together, they were ready to face whatever came next. ***. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. ***. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. Despite the clarity Grant had found in his decision to live for himself, the external pressures of the world outside the hospital began to creep in. Media attention, old business associates, and the lingering influence of his estranged family started to encroach on the fragile peace he had found with Anna. The hospital halls, once a place of calm, now felt like a stage where every action was scrutinized, and every visitor's glance seemed loaded with judgment. One morning, as Anna entered Grant's room with a tray of breakfast, she noticed a group of reporters gathered outside the hospital entrance. Cameras pointed towards the building. Her heart sank slightly. Even though Grant had withdrawn from public life during his recovery, it seemed the world was eager to know how the youngest billionaire had emerged from his coma. Grant, sitting upright in bed, noticed her expression and took her hand gently. "It is okay, Anna," he said softly. "We cannot control everything, but we can choose how we face it together." Anna nodded, grateful for his reassurance, but she felt the tension in the room intensify as his private doctor, Dr. Montgomery, entered hurriedly. "Grant," the doctor said, glancing at Anna, "we have a situation. There are rumors circulating that your family is trying to take control of your company again, and the media has picked up on it. We need to address it carefully." Grant sighed, running his fingers through his hair. "I know," he murmured. "I expected nothing less, but I want to handle this without letting it overwhelm me. Anna, can you stay with me? I need to face this, knowing you are here." Anna smiled softly, squeezing his hand. "Of course, Grant. I will not leave your side." That afternoon, Grant decided to confront the situation head-on. He held a private meeting with his lawyer and key advisors, with Anna quietly present in the corner of the room, offering moral support. As the discussions unfolded, it became clear that his father and several former associates were attempting to assert influence over the company, leveraging old contracts and legal technicalities. Grant listened carefully, asking questions and making decisions with a calm authority that had returned to him during his recovery. He was no longer the man who had been at the mercy of circumstances. He had reclaimed control over his life and his business. Anna watched in quiet admiration, recognizing the strength and determination that lay beneath his vulnerable exterior. The confrontation was tense, with every move monitored and every word calculated. When it was over, Grant leaned back in his chair, visibly exhausted but resolute. "Anna," he said quietly, "thank you for being here. I could not have done this without your presence keeping me grounded. You reminded me who I am and what truly matters." Anna felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had been there for him in ways that were more than physical care. She had been a steady presence, a source of comfort and perspective. "You did this, Grant. I just reminded you of the person you already are," she said softly. As the day drew to a close, the media began to calm, and the influence of his father and former associates diminished in the face of Grant's determined stance. Anna and Grant sat together in the hospital garden, the evening sun casting a golden glow over them. "We did it," Grant said quietly, his eyes meeting hers. "We faced it together." Anna nodded, her heart full. "Yes, and we will continue to face whatever comes together." The challenges of the outside world had tested Grant and Anna in ways neither could have anticipated, but in the process, they had strengthened their bond. They had learned to navigate not only the complexities of recovery and emotions but also the pressures of the world around them. And in that shared understanding, there was a quiet promise of resilience, trust, and a future where they would face everything side by side. Asterisk asterisk. A young nurse bathed the millionaire in a coma. But when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. The weeks following Grant's decision to take control of his own life were filled with a mix of relief and new challenges. Though his recovery was still ongoing, he had proven that he was ready to reclaim his place in the world not just in business, but in his personal life as well. Together, he and Anna had weathered the storm of his family's influence, and the pressure of his past seemed to have lost its grip on him. The hospital, once a place of confinement, had now become a symbol of his transformation. Every step forward, no matter how small, was a victory. But the real test, Anna knew, would come when Grant finally left the hospital and re-entered the world outside. The outside world was still uncertain, still filled with pressures that neither of them could control. And as much as they both longed for a future together, Anna couldn't shake the feeling that there were still things they hadn't faced yet, things they needed to confront before they could truly move forward. One afternoon, after another round of physical therapy, Grant and Anna sat together in the courtyard of the hospital. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden light across the garden. There was a quietness between them, a calmness that felt like a turning point. Grant turned to her, his expression serious but soft. "Anna," he began, his voice low, "I've been thinking a lot about the future, about everything that's happened, about what we've been through together. And I know we've been focused on my recovery, on what's happening now, but I want to know what happens next. I want us to have a future, a real one, not just an uncertain hope." Anna's heart swelled with emotion. She had been waiting for him to say this, but hearing him voice it so openly made everything feel more real. "I want that too," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "But we have to be honest with each other. We've been through so much, Grant, and there's still a lot we need to face. I can't promise that everything will be easy, that everything will fall into place. But what I can promise is that I'll be here, with you, for whatever comes next." Grant reached out, taking her hand in his. His touch was warm, and there was a sense of certainty in it, as if he had finally found the place where he truly belonged. "I don't need everything to be perfect, Anna. I just need you. I've spent so long trying to control everything around me, trying to make everything look the way I thought it should. But now, I just want to live, and I want to live with you." Anna's eyes glistened with tears. She had always believed in the idea of love, in the idea of finding someone who could see you for who you truly were. But she had never imagined that she would find that kind of connection with someone like Grant, someone who had once seemed so unreachable, so lost in his own world of power and ambition. "We'll take it one day at a time," she said softly, squeezing his hand. "We don't have to have all the answers right now, but I know that we can face whatever comes together." Grant smiled, his eyes shining with hope. "I couldn't ask for anything more." As they sat together, watching the last light of the day fade into the night, Anna felt a sense of peace that she hadn't known in a long time. They had both come so far, and though there would undoubtedly be challenges ahead, they were no longer facing them alone. For the first time in months, Anna could imagine a future that wasn't just about survival. It was about living, It was about taking each step forward, together, and finding joy in the journey, no matter what the world threw their way. And as the stars began to twinkle above them, Anna knew that this was just the beginning. The future was still uncertain, but she and Grant were ready to face it with strength, with love, and with the kind of hope that could only be found in the most unexpected of places. Asterisk, asterisk. A young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma, but when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. The days after their heartfelt conversation brought new clarity to Grant and Anna's relationship. They had both expressed their feelings openly, but now it was time to test the strength of those feelings in the real world. Grant's recovery was progressing smoothly, and as he regained more independence, the emotional weight of his past began to lift. Yet, with his health improving, the pressure of stepping back into the world outside the hospital grew more palpable. He had made peace with his decision not to return to his family's business empire, but the reality of rebuilding his life and career remained daunting. Anna, too, had her own internal battle. She had supported him through everything: his physical recovery, his emotional struggles, and the battle with his family's expectations, but as their relationship deepened, she realized she had her own uncertainties. Their bond had shifted from that of a nurse and patient to something more complicated, more personal. And with that shift came questions. What would the future hold for them? Would they be able to balance their lives, their careers, and their growing love? One day, as Grant and Anna sat together in the hospital courtyard, discussing his upcoming discharge, Anna couldn't help but voice her concerns. "Grant, I've been thinking about everything," she said quietly. "We've both come so far, but I wonder how we're going to navigate everything once you're out of here. There's still so much we don't know about how we fit into each other's lives outside of this place." Grant looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "I know it's going to be a challenge, Anna, but I'm not afraid of it. I don't want to live in the past anymore, and I certainly don't want to live a life where I'm afraid to take the next step, especially when I know you're by my side." He took her hand in his grip steady and warm. "We've been through so much already. What's a little more, right?" Anna smiled softly, her heart swelling with affection for him. "Right," she replied, her voice filled with quiet determination. "But it's not going to be easy. We'll have to figure things out as we go." Grant nodded, his gaze never leaving hers. "We will, together." As the days passed, the reality of their situation settled in. Grant was preparing to leave the hospital, but the world outside awaited him, filled with uncertainty. He was ready to start fresh, but there was still a lot of work to be done. His family was still a looming presence, even if he had decided not to return to the family business. And Anna, though committed to supporting him, had her own career and personal goals to consider. Their paths were now intertwined, but they both knew that their individual dreams and ambitions needed to coexist. One evening, as they sat in Grant's hospital room, preparing for his discharge, they discussed their next steps. "So, what happens now?" Anna asked, trying to sound casual, though the weight of the conversation hung in the air. Grant took a deep breath. "I want to start fresh. I've been thinking about doing something completely different, something that's not about my family's business, or the expectations that have always followed me. I want to focus on what I'm passionate about. I want to give back, to make a real difference. But I don't know where to start." Anna smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "I think that's a great idea, Grant. You've always been so focused on building an empire. Now it's time to build something that's meaningful to you, not just for the sake of success." Grant's eyes softened as he looked at her. "And what about you, Anna? You've been my rock through all of this. What's next for you?" Anna hesitated, her thoughts swirling. "I don't know yet," she said honestly. "I've always been so focused on my career, and I'm still figuring out what I want outside of that. But I do know that whatever I do, I want you to be a part of it." Grant reached for her hand, his expression sincere. "You are already a part of my life, Anna. You've helped me find myself again. And I want to be there for you too, whatever path you choose." Anna smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. It wasn't going to be easy, but they were ready to face it together. The challenges they would face in the world outside the hospital were real, but their connection was even more so. Together, they would find their way, one step at a time, no matter what the future held. Asterisk, asterisk, Young nurse bathed a millionaire in a coma. But when he suddenly woke up, something miraculous. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's continue with today's story. As Grant and Anna began their new chapter together, the challenges of the outside world started to shift from overwhelming to manageable. The pressures of his family, the media attention, and the uncertainties of his recovery faded into the background as they carved out their own space. With Anna's unwavering support, Grant was slowly finding his footing in a world that had once seemed like it was closing in on him. He no longer felt the weight of his father's expectations, nor did he feel bound by the chains of his family's legacy. He was becoming his own person again, and with each passing day, he felt more and more like the man he had always wanted to be, someone in control of his own destiny. It wasn't all easy, and there were moments of doubt. The world outside was still complicated, and there were setbacks along the way. But they faced them together. Anna, too, had found a new sense of purpose. She had always been driven, focused on her career. But as her relationship with Grant deepened, she began to see the value in a life that wasn't entirely defined by her job. They began to dream about their future together, building a life that wasn't just about surviving, but thriving. A future where they both could support each other's aspirations, no matter how uncertain the road ahead might be. One evening, as they sat on the porch of the home Grant had decided to settle in, they looked out at the stars above them. The peaceful quiet of the night surrounded them, and for the first time in a long while, they felt completely at ease. Anna leaned her head on Grant's shoulder, taking in the calm of the moment. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" she said softly. Grant nodded, his arm wrapped around her. "We have. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. Every step has led us here." There was a long pause, a shared understanding passing between them. "I'm glad we're here," Anna said quietly, looking up at the night sky. "Me too," Grant replied, his voice full of sincerity. "I don't know what the future holds, but with you by my side, I'm ready for anything." Anna smiled, her heart full. "We'll take it one day at a time," she said. "We always have." Grant kissed her forehead, his eyes filled with love. "One day at a time," he agreed. And in that quiet, peaceful moment, they both realized that no matter what the future held, they had found something worth fighting for. Together, they had built a foundation not just of love, but of mutual respect and understanding. They had learned that true healing didn't just come from physical recovery, but from the strength of their connection, their ability to support each other through the toughest of times. The future, though uncertain, was no longer something to fear. It was something they would face side by side, with the knowledge that as long as they had each other, they could overcome whatever challenges lay ahead. They had found their way back to each other and to themselves, and in the end, that was the only thing that truly mattered. In this captivating millionaire story, a young nurse's dedication and compassion lead to a remarkable transformation for a millionaire who wakes up from a coma after a life-changing accident. As the story unfolds, their bond grows, and together, they navigate the challenges of recovery, family pressures, and personal growth. Through every twist and turn, their relationship deepens, proving that love and understanding can heal even the most broken souls. This millionaire story is a testament to the power of support and trust, as two people from very different worlds find common ground in a journey of healing. As Grant regains his strength, he discovers the importance of living life for himself, no longer bound by his family's expectations. Meanwhile, Anna, the nurse who was once just a caregiver, becomes his anchor, offering him not only physical support but emotional connection. This powerful millionaire story shows how the past doesn't define us and how love can transform even the hardest of circumstances. Through their struggles, Anna and Grant find that true healing comes from within and from each other. With a future full of uncertainty, they choose to face it together, overcoming obstacles and embracing what's ahead. This millionaire story highlights the importance of taking one step at a time and building a life that's not about the past, but about creating something meaningful in the present and future.